MMA Now, powered by Film On TV Network.
I'm David Kano with Film On TV's MMA Now, and right now I'm joined with pro surfer and the brother of the UFC middleweight champion, Matt Rockhold. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. We're in Inglewood, California. Your brother's the main event. He's defending the title for the first time. What are your first thoughts that come to your mind when you're here?
I'm excited. I love what he does, and I'm number one fan. So I'm psyched.
Do you get yourself emotionally involved? Like Michael Bisping has been talking a lot. Luke Rockhold, your brother, has been talking a lot as well. But does that get into your mind that someone's talking about my brother?
You know what? It does a little bit, but at the same time, I just gotta think about the big picture and know that it's just part of the game. You know what I mean? I think it used to bother me a little bit more back in the day, but now it's just a part of how they do things.
Now, growing up, who would win the battles between you and Luke? Well, both different backgrounds, but who got the better of each other?
Oh man, you know what? I can say that I dominated him. Pretty much all of our childhood till he was out of high school, and then it got to a point where the only reason I could dominate him is because I was stronger than him. And then once he got to same size as me, I was just done. We actually had the changing of the guards on Cinco de Mayo, and he fucked me up for sure. Like to where I woke up the next morning, I had to go to the chiropractor, and just I think I was sore for about 3 weeks.
Do you remember what year that was?
Let's see, I'd say it was at least 9 years ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago. It was like he had just started training, and I think he had a couple fights. And I just didn't really realize, what I was I knew what I was getting into, but once, he pretty much suplexed me, and it was a rough night, dude, to put it simple.
Now, I was talking with the executive producer of Entourage and Ballers, Rob Weiss, and what he said was, when we were talking with your brother, that he'd rather face your brother than do what you do, get on the big waves, because there's nothing you could do against water. Is surfing more dangerous than MMA?
It's they both have their dangers, obviously, about them. But hey, you can die in the cage and you can die in the ocean. You know what I mean? The one thing about the ocean, it's Mother Nature. You never know what it's going to throw at you. You know what I mean? And it's definitely it could be life and death out there when it's big. It's like a big wave's like a big avalanche. Kind of falling on you, and then you got to somehow relax and hold your breath through it. It's a trip, but I'd say they both have their dangers, but you could say that surfing is a little more dangerous, possibly. Yeah.
And in my mind, I did a little surfing. I think I tried little 3-foot waves on my shortboard, and I would pearl a lot. A lot of people don't know what pearling is, and but for you riding the big waves,
I know what pearling is.
Yeah, right. Pearling
for doing that.
Yeah. So obviously, I wasn't cut out to be a pro surfer, but when you get ready to ride the big waves, 20-footers, what's the biggest wave you've ridden or rode? And then the second of all, is there nerves there? Do you get scared at all?
Yes, of course. It's natural to do that. And if you're not scared a little bit, and then you're kind of tripping, and you might do something reckless and pay for it. But I used to do some big wave stuff back in the day, and it kind of puts you in a whole nother mindset. You're kind of chasing it, and you got other guys chasing it and pushing you, to go bigger, and it's gnarly. It's definitely gnarly. I take my hat off to all the big wave guys, especially now. These guys are paddling into 50-footers. Back then you paddled until 20, 30 feet, and then anything above that you'd tow into, so you're getting assisted by a jet ski. But these guys these days, they're towing into anything imaginable. It's crazy, and that is definitely life and death. Those guys are gnarly, and they should get way more respect, and they should get paid way more money.
And what's the biggest wave that you've caught?
You know what? Probably back in the day at Ghost Tree, this place in Carmel, and it's a big wave spot, and probably like 50 feet.
50-foot wave. That's like 5 stories up.
Yeah, it's a big wave, dude. It was a big wave. It was gnarly. I remember the day specifically, and it's probably one of the heaviest days ever. And actually, we lost one of our good friends, Pete Davy, that day. He actually passed away. So you can tell that that big wave stuff is life and death.
Did he pass before or after you took the wave?
You know what? It was actually during the session. It was like over a couple hour period, and then all of a sudden there's so much going on and so much action that he had gotten kind of lost. They kind of lost where he was, and then when he was found unconscious, and yeah, he passed away on the beach. Yeah, it actually changed my life. You know what I mean? Kind of seeing that kind of put everything into perspective. It's crazy.
Now, you said it changed your life. How did that change your life?
It kind of just showed me, how quickly it could end. You know what I mean? I mean, he was, a good family friend, and I knew the guy. I was good friends with his son, and it's just hard to see that happen. He was one of the biggest wave, best, heaviest guys at that time. Charged big waves. He was known for it, and if you knew the guy, you thought there would no way he would ever, pass away in that fashion, and it happened. It happened to one of the biggest, gnarliest dudes you can imagine.
Now, just closing up, when you're there at the fight tomorrow, seeing your brother, will you have nerves as well? I
do get nervous. I do. It's a nerve-wracking thing, but I know Luke. I know what he's capable of, and I'm a pretty big MMA fan. I actually love it. I've never really been a sports fan as far as football and stuff. I've always surfed, but this is like there's nothing better than MMA. It's true combat, and I love it. And I know what Luke's capable of, and shit, I'm confident that he's going to handle his business in there.
So your prediction tomorrow night, what happens?
I'm predicting a first round knockout by Luke. Yep.
Clean KO.
A clean KO, or if Bisping tries to get in close and maybe clinch with him like he's talking about, I think that he could end up on the floor asleep. Anyway he goes down, he's going to be unconscious.
And it just came out yesterday. He does have a torn MCL. Does that weigh more on his mind and your mind?
I don't think it's going to be a problem. He wouldn't be here if it was a problem. He did it a few months ago, and I think it was minor. But obviously, during his training camp, he was training with a brace like he should, and I think it's going to be fine. I don't think it's going to play any factor in the fight.
And last prediction: Dominic Cruz and Uriah Faber, the NorCal guy or the SoCal guy?
You know what? I'm gonna have to go with the upset. I want Uriah to win. I think he's a veteran. He's been around for a long time, and he's a cool dude. I've met him a couple times, and he just I think he deserves it. I'm not taking anything away from Dominic Cruz, but I'm pulling for Faber on this one.
You know what, Matt, we appreciate your time, and we thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you very much.